Greetings, my fellow pod pilots of New Eden. My name is EddieRio, and I've set myself a new challenge within EVE Online. I've always been interested in exploration and scanning, but never really delved too deep into it. So I've decided to create a new character and see if I can go from Corvette, or the noob ship, which in my case is the Velator, because I've chosen a Galente character, and see if I can work my way up, both in skill points and ISK, to the newly introduced Sisters of EVE expedition command ship, the Odysseus. I'll be honest and say I've done very little research into this, and I'm not even sure how long it's going to take me to skill up a new toon to be able to fly one of these ships. But currently, looking at the cost of this thing, which is sitting over 3 billion ISK in the Dixie, skill points seem to be the least of my worries. This thing is expensive. I'll set myself a few rules, but try and keep it as simple as possible. I'll have no assets or ISK transferred from my other characters, and I won't be buying any skill points or anything from the New Eden store to give me a boost. Obviously, as with most challenges, it's all about the journey. And when I start to look at what I have ahead of me, I'm pretty excited, as most of this is new ground and a new playstyle to me, really. I'll still be doing plenty of solo PvP on my other toon, so don't worry about not having the content on the channel, but this can sort of run alongside that and be updated every now and then with my progress and what I've learnt along the way. So if you're new to all this as well, we can learn together. But if you're like a pro scanner and hacker, you can laugh at my mistakes. But as with my PvP videos, I really do appreciate some good advice and tips in the comments. It could really help to progress the journey along a little bit. So looking ahead, I need to take a good look at the skills needed for scanning and hacking, and then in turn obviously the Odysseus as well, and what I'm going to need skill wise for that. What ships to use and how to progress through them to get up to the Odysseus, because I'm not going to be able to just go straight there. I'm going to have to get some money making ships as well. The different fittings for these ships, and I'm pretty sure you can get implants for scanning as well, so I need to have a look at that. I've also got no real idea how the hacking minigame works, and I've generally just sort of forced my way through it with the little bit that I have done in the past without really understanding it, so that's definitely something that I'm going to have to look at. And I'm also unsure what sort of sites that I'm going to be looking for. I know that gas sites are also included in this kind of exploration scanning area, so that could be something that I look at down the line as well. I was thinking that I also want to use this character to explore the EVE universe as well. Obviously I'll be starting in high sec, but then moving into low and null, dipping into wormhole space, and also a little goosey into Pochfin, which I've never really spent any time in other than to get back from nullsec. Also, I'd like to do a little bit of sightseeing of some of the special places within the universe, like the EVE Gate and other places of interest, and look at the lore and significance of these places. And all of this while trying to rack up enough skill points and ISK solely from exploration to work my way up to buying that Odysseus. So I start my EVE journey, as many before me have done, by creating a new character. I skipped the intro gameplay, as I've done this with my faction warfare toon about 6 months ago now, and I don't need to go through that again, so I can go straight into looking at the career program with the aim of completing the explorer path. That's definitely something that I want to achieve. First of all, I head to the system with the explorer agent and start to get this underway. As you can see, I'm in my Corvette, the noob ship or starter ship, and docking in the station where the agent to the exploration career path within the air program resides. And I'm hoping that, as with other ones, I think you get your first sort of ship from here as well, so maybe I'll get my first ship for proper scanning if I complete these missions. This is quite useful, although it must be very basic for you if you've done all this before, but it walks you through the basic sites, so the data sites, the relic sites, and also the gas sites. Here we go, this is what I was looking for. second mission in, and it's going to give me an Imicus, which is going to be my first proper scanning ship. It's got 7.5% bonus to scanner probes per skill level, so the Frig skill is definitely something that I'm going to want to train up to get better at scanning with this ship. So I'm going to have a look at what ships I'm going to want to be flying and what I'm going to have to work towards skill point wise to move into those ships. But to begin with, I don't really need to worry about that. I just need to get this ship up to a decent enough level so that I can start scanning data and relic sites and bring in some income. So sort of trying not to worry about the bigger picture too much and just focus on the little steps at the moment. So I complete that mission and then I jump into my new ship, and I love these kind of little intros when the first time when you jump into the ship they give you this cool little video of jumping into it, which is nice. Look at that. I suppose I better get used to this because that's the ship I'm going to be flying for quite a while until I skill up into something else, the Imicus. It's also given me the core probe launcher and the data and relic analyzers that I need, and I can just look at the fit quickly as well and see I've got 4 mids, 3 highs, 3 lows and 3 rigs as well, which doesn't seem too bad. This is going to be a high sec ship though. I don't think I'm going to be taking this into low sec or no sec without that covert ops cloak fitted, so that's definitely something that I'm going to have to work towards before I start moving into other areas. But it's going to be really interesting to see how much ISK can be made in high sec doing these sites as well from a completely new character with hardly any skills. Once I've completed those missions and ticked it off my sort of air career program, I decide to head to the Dixie, which is the sort of market hub for Galente space, and I'm going to set up here. This is going to be my base. This is where I do my buying and selling and trading of the stuff that I find from data and relic sites, and this is going to be my home for the foreseeable future until I start to branch out into different parts of space. I didn't like the idea of using Jita as my main hub for my market, as it's really busy, and I can imagine if there are lots of people doing exploration, then the sites around that sort of ring of Jita within sort of 10 jumps outside of Jita are all going to be quite busy, whereas the jumps perhaps outside of the Dixie, which is nowhere near as busy as Jita, is going to be slightly less, and perhaps I'm going to have less competition as well. And although everything perhaps might not be on the market or might be a little bit more expensive, I think it's a really good place to set up. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing for fittings, and I'm just looking at all the different items and all the different rigs that you can get and getting myself quite confused with what skills and what attributes I actually want to increase. To start with, I've got no skills, so actually scanning down the sites is quite difficult, so I want to up that scan strength of my probes to be able to just scan the sites to begin with. I'm not worried about the sort of speed or anything else. I just want to up that number of the strength of probes to be able to find the sites to begin with. And like I said, I was a bit confused. I made a few mistakes. I fitted a few modules that don't quite do exactly what I wanted, or that I couldn't fit at the time, but I sort of fumble my way through it and come out with a bit of a fitting that I can go scanning with. Definitely fitting a micro warp drive. That seems really important to go from can to can and to move around, and also something to help your align time and your speed of warping about seems like something that's going to help as well. I start to have a little goosey at some of the ships that I might want to head towards as well. So the Tech 2 version of the ship that I'm in is the Helios, and I noticed that it has 5 medium slots, so that's one more. So that seems like it's quite beneficial to help you fit everything that you need and sort of add extra bonuses to the ship as well. So I have a look that I need Galente Frig 5, which is something that I'm going to need for the Imicus anyway, because that number boosts your scan strength as well, which is really useful. But I'm definitely thinking that this is the next ship that I'm going to go for. This one could be my workhorse. This one will be able to go into all parts of space. Doesn't matter on the security status. It's small, nippy, can fit a covert ops cloak and whiz about, and it's going to be able to scan down the sites and hopefully make a lot of ISK. So this is definitely the ship that I will be heading towards. Now, of course, there is also the Sisters of EVE ship, the EddieRio, the Frig for Sisters of EVE, which has good bonuses for scanning and doing exactly the same thing. It's a bit more expensive. It is down the path that I will be wanting to go to get the Odysseus as well, skill wise. So this is definitely something that I can look at perhaps once I've got a bit more Iskies under my belt. But definitely think I'm going to go for the Helios first, and then see where I start to go from there once I've got some skills and some ISK under my belt. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself there. All I need to focus on at the moment are my skills and how to fit this Imicus to be able to go out and make myself some Iskies. So I get out there and I start scanning, and one of the first things that I find is a relic site. Don't really know the difference between relic sites and data sites. Is one more profitable than the other? That's something maybe you can help me with in the comments. I don't know if it's worth doing just the relics or just data, or doing them both, but at the moment I'm just going to be doing everything. And then I start the hacking mini game. I have no clue what is going on really here. I know I've got a couple of bars on the left and the right. As I go through, I can get these tools that I can use. I've got 3 slots for those, but I'm not really sure what's going on. Why is that one white? I don't know, but these are things that I can learn. I know that I've got to find the main thing to hack. I don't even know what it's called, but I click on that and then hopefully it hacks it for me. So as you can see, I'm just fumbling my way. Oh, I think that's the one. Yes, so there we go. Hack successful, fumbled my way through it. Lovely jubbly. What have we got in there? 11,000 ISK worth of stuff. Okay, this could take some time, but that's better than nothing. I'm happy with that. My first little site that I've managed to scan down and start to work out this hacking mini game. It's definitely, I think I'm going to have to look up some guides to what all the different symbols mean, and because I'm sure that this is going to get more difficult as you perhaps move into low and null space and wormhole hacking, that this is going to become more difficult. And I can also see that there are skills that improve your hacking abilities for both data and relic sites, so they're going to be something that I need to improve upon. So I finished that site with about 250,000 ISK, which I didn't think was too bad, but I'm definitely going to want to up that per site if I'm going to make any real ISK. Then I start to run into a few problems. So I start scanning this site down and it turns into a data site. Great, but try as I can, I can't scan it down with my current skills and modules that I've got on this ship. It's just not strong enough, and the signal just gets to about 80 or 90% and I can't get any further. I then go around and try and do a few other things. Maybe it's just this one, but I'm really having trouble scanning down data sites, it's pretty much impossible. So something's wrong. I need to change some things. I need to up some skill points. I think that this is something that's just going to take a little bit of time. I'm a little bit disheartened as I do have a little look at the skill points and think that maybe this might take a week or two before I get enough. But with this, I decide to hit Project Discovery because it's part of the exploration air career goals to complete that. And I think, well, it will generate me a little bit of ISK and give me something to do for a little bit. Now, as I'm ploughing through a little bit of Project Discovery, I realised something, that at level 50 you can get a ship. At first I didn't think much of it, I just thought, oh yeah, you can get a ship. But then I decided to have a little look at the ship and notice that it's pretty much exactly the type of thing that I'm going to want. It's a sort of hacking ship and it looks really cool and really fast at doing it with some great skill bonuses as well. And it's called the Pacifier. So this has thrown a curveball right in the mix now. So, you know, I had my little plan of what ships that I was sort of going to head towards, but this might be an option as well. It's really expensive in the market, but if I did a little bit of Project Discovery every time I logged in, getting to that level 50 wouldn't be too difficult, and this could be something that I could use. And it just looks really cool as well. So it's got sort of multi-roles. It doesn't matter what skill class race you are into, this is open for sort of everybody to use. But it's got a 10% bonus to the relic and data analyzer virus strength as well. It's got the covert ops cloak that can be fitted. It seems to have it all. Yeah, right little curveball there. Ship that I didn't really know existed for this role. Definitely something that I'm gonna add into the mix of something that I might want to fly down the line on my journey towards the Odysseus. But you're gonna have to let me know in the comments, what do you think? You know, is this ship worth going for? Is it worth doing a little bit of Project Discovery each time I log in to head towards that? Because it would certainly be easier than making the ISK for me at the moment, whilst I am continuing to use the Imicus and then head to the Helios, and then am I going to go to the sort of Sisters of EvE ships, or am I going to go and use this one for a bit? Who knows? We will see as it goes on. But early doors at the moment, but it's definitely something of interest for me there. It's a few days later now, and I've managed to get myself a few skill points through the air career goal, as well as waiting a few days to build up a few skill points to help improve my scanning. And I've started to go out scanning and found myself a data site, but again I have the same problem, but I get to sort of 90% here. I'm really close, 95, 96%. I'm really close to be able to scanning it down. I've managed to get myself some better probes, some faction probes, which are helping to increase it as well. But I'm at sort of, you know, 96, 97%. I just can't get that little bit. So one thing that I notice is that the rigs that I had fitted aren't the best for this. So I go and find a couple more rigs to fit. I managed to fit 2 gravity capacitor upgrades to my ship, which increase it by 10%, I think, scan improvement each one. I think there are diminishing returns for fitting multiple ones and also modules of that type, but hopefully this is just going to be enough to tip me over the edge to be able to scan down that site. I go back to that system. The data site is still there in my probe scanner results at 96%. I line my probes up again and I hit scan and have a look at this. Success. Oh, I'm over the moon at this point because it was so frustrating. Look, shaking the camera with glee. I was so frustrated before thinking that I might have to wait a few more weeks just to get the skills to be able to do this, but managed to sort of power through, get enough iskies to buy a few little modules to fit them in, fill out a little bit of their air career program to get a few extra skill points that I can put in, and it all just came together, and I managed to get to the site and scan it down. I fumble my way through this again. I pick up that little spanner. I don't really know what I've got to do with them. I'll press it there. I don't know what I'm doing. Definitely something I'm going to have to look at. Yeah, power through that. Wondering if there's any sort of rhyme or reason to where the end go. Oh, there it is. And system hack successful. I open it up and look at that. It says estimated value 10 million there. I've got a skin which is actually worth something. Fantastic. I'm feeling over the moon now, thinking that yes, this is the start of the journey. It's getting late, but I'm feeling really good. I go out and I manage to find 2 or 3 more data sites, not as profitable as the one which had that skin in it, but I managed to get up about 20 million ISK in my cargo, which is fantastic. I'm so happy with that. And I return back to the Dixie, a hero, conquering hero, managing to be able to scan down data sites. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? And it just shows how difficult the start of EvE can actually be. And you know, I've got a lot of knowledge of EvE in its other facets, so for a completely new player having a go at this, saying that, oh, I want to do exploration and start out doing exploration, it's really tricky. If you go into missions and doing missions and fighting NPCs, you've got that path of making ISK quite quickly, but with this you need to be able to scan down those sites. So it took quite a little bit of fiddling and a little bit of jiggly pokery before I could manage to scan down those sites and start making ISK. But that's it. I've got my path to making ISK while I'm skilling up into the Helios as well now, so I can carry on doing the sites in high sec. Maybe I could delve into low sec cheekily in this ship, I'm not sure. I could give it a little go and see about starting to bring in that ISK ready for my next ship and modules when my skill points allow me to fly them. But awesome, really enjoying starting off in this. You know, the frustration is only makes it more rewarding when you get to something and you manage to achieve it as well. And I'm at the point now, like I said, where it starts from here basically. This is the start of the journey. Things that I'm going to have to look at are definitely going to be the hacking mini game. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that, and once I've mastered that, obviously I can do a video helping others explain how to do it as well. I definitely want to have a look at the pacifier and see if that's something that I want to go down in the future as well as the Sisters of EvE frigate and also the Helios. I'm going to look at implants that I can use that are going to improve this as well. Look at the different modules that I can fit, have a look at the different fittings. Also do a bit of research on the different sites. Now I know there's a site called a ghost site, and it's a timed site and you can die in it, you can lose your ship. So that's definitely something I need to know what it is, so that if I just fly into it, I'm not going to lose my ship instantly, because that could really set me back, especially with such little ISK as I have at the moment. But anyway, that's the start of my journey. You can laugh at my noobish skills all you want, but I have thoroughly enjoyed that. And subscribe to the channel, like the video, and wait for the next chapter, the next video to come out on this journey into exploration within EVE Online. I've been EddieRio. Fly safe. I'll catch you in the next one.